My name is Victoria. I am 34 years old. I live in a quiet town near the river. From the outside, my life looked good and calm. I had a husband, a small house with a garden, and a stable job at a bookstore. People often said I was lucky. They saw my smile and the flowers near our window. They did not see the silence inside my home. They did not see how long I waited every night at the dinner table. My husband Andrew worked in another part of the city. He said his work was difficult and he needed to stay late. At first, I believed him without questions. I trusted him because love is built on trust. Every evening, I cooked dinner and placed 2 plates on the table. I lit a small candle because I wanted our home to feel warm. Sometimes the food became cold before he arrived. Sometimes he sent a short message that said he would not come home. I told myself this was normal. I told myself every marriage has hard times. Months passed, and the distance between us grew slowly. We spoke less. We stopped laughing together. He spent more time looking at his phone than looking at me. When I tried to talk, he said he was tired. When I asked if something was wrong, he said everything was fine. One evening, I closed the bookstore earlier than usual because I felt strange in my heart. I walked home under a gray sky. The air felt heavy and cold. When I opened the door, the house felt different. There was a smell of perfume that was not mine. On the kitchen table, I saw 2 cups of coffee and 1 lipstick mark on the rim. I do not wear bright lipstick. My hands began to shake, but my face stayed calm. I did not scream. I did not cry. I walked into the bedroom and opened the wardrobe. A woman's scarf was hanging next to Andrew's jacket. It was soft and red. In that moment, I understood everything without words. My heart did not break loudly. It became very quiet. Andrew came home 1 hour later. He stopped when he saw me standing in the middle of the room, holding the red scarf. His face changed color. He tried to speak, but no sound came out at first. Then he said it was not what I thought. He said she was only a colleague from work. He said they were only talking. His words sounded empty. I looked at him and felt like I was looking at a stranger. I realized I did not know this man anymore. I realized I had been living with a shadow. I asked him one simple question. Do you love her? He did not answer quickly. That silence was louder than any confession. Tears filled my eyes, but I did not let them fall. I told him I deserved honesty. He said he was confused. He said he needed time. I answered that I had already given him time. I went to the closet and took out a small suitcase. I packed clothes slowly and carefully. Andrew followed me and tried to stop me. He said we could fix everything. He promised to change. I listened, but I felt no hope inside. I told him that trust once broken is hard to build again. I told him I loved him once, but I could not live in lies. I left the house that night and went to my sister's apartment. The next weeks were painful. I cried at night when no one could see me. I felt lonely and afraid. I asked myself many questions. Was I not enough? Did I fail as a wife? Slowly, I understood that betrayal is not about being enough. It is about choice. Andrew chose to lie. He chose another woman. That was his decision. I started to focus on my work again. In the bookstore, I organized new shelves and planned small reading events for children. Being around stories helped me breathe again. Books reminded me that every person can start a new chapter. One afternoon, a little boy came into the store and asked for a story about a brave queen. I helped him find one. As I held the book in my hands, I thought maybe I could be brave too. Months passed, and I moved into a small apartment near the park. It was not big, but it was mine. I bought new curtains and a soft blue sofa. I planted flowers on the balcony. Every morning, I drank coffee alone and watched the sunrise. At first, the silence felt heavy. Later, it felt peaceful. Andrew called me many times. I answered only once. He said he missed me. He said he made a mistake and wanted another chance. I listened quietly. I asked him if he had ended his other relationship. He hesitated again. That was enough for me. I told him I wished him well, but I would not return. After that call, I blocked his number. It was not easy, but it was necessary. One evening, I walked by the river and felt the wind on my face. I realized I was not weak. I had survived disappointment. I had survived lies. I had chosen myself. I began to study in the evenings. I took small business classes because I dreamed of opening my own book cafe one day. The idea made me smile. I saved money and worked harder. Step by step, my life became stronger. Sometimes sadness still visited me, but it did not control me. I learned that love should feel safe, not painful. I learned that respect is as important as passion. 1 year later, I opened a tiny cafe next to the bookstore. There were books on every wall and fresh flowers on every table. On the first day, I felt nervous but proud. Friends and neighbors came to support me. My sister hugged me and said she was proud of my courage. As I stood behind the counter serving coffee, I felt something new inside my heart. Not anger, not regret. Hope. I understood that betrayal had changed my path, but it did not end my story. It pushed me toward independence. It taught me to value myself. Sometimes Andrew walks past the cafe. He looks through the window but does not come inside. I see him, but I do not feel pain anymore. I feel distance and peace. My life is not perfect, but it is honest. Every night when I close the cafe, I turn off the lights and whisper thank you to myself for not staying where I was not respected. I learned that walking away is sometimes the bravest act of love. Not love for another person, but love for yourself. I am no longer the woman who waited at a cold dinner table. I am the woman who built her own warm place in the world. And that is enough.